Hey guys, welcome back, Digital Gate Studios. We got Jesse in the house because he is bringing the fastest of all the Royal Knights here. We have the what deck profile?
Ulforce is back.
Ulforce is back.
All right, guys. If you haven't noticed, I skipped a format for profile for this because there wasn't a whole lot in EX4 that contributed to this deck, and it was just kind of one of those ones I think that just kind of laid low for a format. But there's a couple new pieces. Really, couple new just between the last couple sets, but I think the way the meta is and the way that this deck performs now, and some things that you don't have to worry about as much, you can kind of get back into the business. So let's dive off with some eggs.
I'm excited because there's so many possibilities you can go, right?
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what you do.
So we're gonna start off. I mean, some of this, a lot of it, is gonna be the same because the deck is so strong as it is. So we're gonna go with the Wanyamons. Of course, this egg is bonkers. Swing, draw a card. It's kind of the new staple in blue. If you are going to run a fifth egg, which I do now, mostly because Royal Knights are kind of scary in security. If you do get that Royal Knights matchup, is the Demi V. You get that 1 extra K. Sometimes that's the difference between life and death.
Gotcha.
Ulforce and Ulforce X, I think, are just both 12. So a lot of those Royal Knights are at 12, so you're going to be using that evade and missing and losing a swing. It's kind of nice to get that extra 1K. So jumping into the rookies, this is just a staple 4 of. I don't think this is ever going to change unless they restrict it or power creep it out somehow, but it's just too strong of a search. Grab a Tamer and a Veedramon, also the inheritable.
So good.
Play a blue Tamer, gain a memory, really, really strong. Once again, still running 4 of the EX1 Vmon, also very strong. Gain some memory when it unsuspends. That's kind of what this deck do. So we're going to stick with that. Still running 3 of the Vmons that draw you a card when you unsuspend. There is arguments, debating on what your meta looks like. If you are going to switch something out to run those Madoki Betamons, this would be the one you switch out. You can run 3 Madokis. You could run 3 of the Siyakumons or
some sort of split with
some
whatever
kind of floodgate.
It.
If you're gonna run floodgates, take this guy out. Consistency is really important in this deck, so we are going to be running 4 of the BT-13 Veedramons. Super, super strong. This won't ever change, I don't think. The stuff that's so stapled that came from that one set just sticks around because it's so strong in the deck. So here's one of the new additions from EX4. We're jumping into the Gold Veedramon.
This is what I was going to ask you about,
This is one of my new fun techs because there are a lot of really fast decks that can outpace you if you don't draw the right cards or get the right combos in your hand. This gives you something to do on top of this Vmon. Because this Vmon you really don't want to use in raising because you want to get that search. And a lot of times you'll be building your big stack in raising. You'll be using your Vmon to search, and then you'll hit next turn. And if it survives, you don't have anything to do with it.
I got you.
A lot of times they'll have a blocker that's 3 or 4K, and it just kind of sits out there on the field. So this card gives you something to do with it. You can minus 2K, you can lock something down. It's armor purge, so you can digivolve for 2, swing. If it dies, it just goes back to the Vmon. So it kind of gives you another out. And we use it for one of our level 5s that we'll jump into in a sec. The new piece, just a 1 of from our newest set, the Royal Knights.
Go.
This Magnamon is insane.
You did give him another Royal Knight for backup.
I did give it a Royal Knight for backup, for sure. When I read this card, I was like, how does that work in Royal Knights? And realized that it's good in Royal Knights because it is a cheap play cost and it's a blocker, does all that good stuff. But the on deletion is so strong in this because, like the Gold Veedramon, it's really good to throw on top of that Vmon.
Yeah.
Because 1, you get a blocker. And 2, you get something that you can be okay with sacrificing. Because, I mean, it goes from a 1K to a 7K. Blocker, and then when it dies, you can replay out this Vmon and get that search all over again.
Yeah, that's really nice.
Really good. So really strong. Got 2 more level 4s. No surprise here. We got some hybrids. So hybrid for game. We play a lot of Tamers. We need hybrids. Sucks when you have to use it in raising sometimes. So you do have, 8 2 costs level 4s, so not too bad. But really good late game to win. And then jumping into another BT-11 staple, we're running 4 of the Arrow Veedramons. This one's just too good. Suspend it without attacking. You get to search for Tamers, find your arenas, find your pieces. Really, really strong because you want to be suspended when you go into that Ulforce to get all your bonuses when you Digivolve and restand and do
Yeah,
all
that
your
makes
fun
sense.
stuff. And then, similar to the last video, we're running 2 of the starter deck Ulforceveedramons. So really, the only other way to swing and stay or be suspended, the safest way is with jamming. So
Yep.
swing with jamming, and then do all your fun Ulforce stuff. It is good because you get the Security Attack +1. You don't always have that many cards in your hand, though, especially near the end when you're playing out all these tamers for free. They don't recur, except for the Davis. They don't necessarily recur you cards. So you're kind of just emptying your hand, and you don't always have. That's not very consistent. So we're just down to the 2 of. Pretty much just sticking with this to stay consistent for the jamming, and the Vmon will search it if you're looking for a level 5. New additions to the deck. They synergize really well with the Gold Veedramon and the Magnamon. You are looking at 2 of the Shikuamon.
Ooh.
This card, I've had to sell some people on it in this deck, but when I play them and it comes up strong. So being able to DNA, it's another cool thing. If you have this out, you Magnamon, your opponent doesn't want to mess with it. It's because they don't want you to replay that Vmon or the Veedramon, Gold Veedramon. If you have a level 4 and raising, you just raise it the next turn. You get a free level 5 DNA.
Boom.
You get to recover, and you get to bounce something that's equal or less to your security stack in level.
Solid move.
Back. So it's really, really strong. And then the best part about this card is the inheritable. It's when attacking, one of your opponent's Digimon gets -3k. But it's not a once per turn.
Yeah.
And how many times does Ulforce swing?
A bunch of
ton of times, right? So, and it's not contingent on anything. It's literally just that's your inheritable. So it's really, really strong. It's only tricky because you can't digivolve. Because you don't really want to attack with it by itself to suspend it. But I found that netting the memory from digivolving for free is essentially the same. So you'll be able to digivolve pretty much into it and keep it your turn and then do all your Ulforce stuff. So it's really fun. And then bad boy of the deck or the Ulforce. No surprise there. Best card in the deck. Best Ulforce card. Was trying to look at the new one.
Yeah.
Everyone, I think, was trying to look at the new one. It's not there. Doesn't unsuspend. Trashes sources. It's more of like a fancy Hexablow.
Right.
It's okay. It's not bad. It's good in the Royal Knights as a 1 of. 2 of the Ulforce X. Like, really strong just for Digivolve for 1. Unsuspend yet again. When you're out of Tamers, this is like your opponent's like, oh, he has the X antibody, doesn't he? And all you need to do is 1 memory to do it. So, and it bounces another thing back to hand. Super strong. New addition to the deck. If that's not enough, we play 1 Blitz Omni. So we have a lot of win cons here. A lot of ways to just keep swinging and just OTK win in 1 turn. You got your 2 Lanamons. You have your Ulforce Axis to go for 1, and then you have a Blitz Omni for game.
Another Royal Knight.
Yep, we have a theme. You will notice in my last videos, it was quartzmon season, right?
It was.
So that was kind of the bane of the existence of the deck. And this current list, it is the bane of the existence. So if you're seeing quartzmon in your locals a lot still, I would just put Merciful back in here, or take out one of the options that I'm about to show you and put in a Death X, or 2 Mercifuls.
Yeah.
The Maelstrom cards are not terrible.
Yeah. Quartz is not as prevalent just because of kind of all the new shiny new toys we got.
Yes.
But it's still obviously a devastating card.
Yeah, I know a lot of people took it out for the Rosemon Burst mode, and this does better against Burst mode than it did against Quartzmon.
Yep.
Because, the Rosemon Burst is just 1 turn, unless they do it again. All right, and then let's get into some Tamers. Obviously, we're running 4 arenas. Best card in the deck. Still stupid expensive. Really wish they gave us a reprint. I know a lot of people that want to play this deck, but this card just prices them out, which is unfortunate because it's a really fun deck, and I think we'd see it more if it was. So 4 arenas. They let Ulforce do all the Ulforce things. And blocker evade is obviously really, really important. Really strong. And then we run 3 of the ties. This card is becoming more important than ever. I think I was down to 2 for a while.
Yeah.
But like I said, with the matchup against Royal Knights, having that 1 extra K or 2 extra K So strong. Also helps you draw cards if you need that, which we do need a little bit more in this version of the deck, and you'll see why when I get to my options. We do run 2 Davis, Best Boy in Blue, good searcher, kind of sketchy to do late game, I mean not late game, but early game, only because you don't want to bottom deck Urenas, and that's kind of the theme of this version of the deck, is that you do not want to bottom deck Urenas. That will lose you the game more times than not. We do play 1 Sora and Joe. This, I honestly thought about going to a 2 of and taking the Davis down to 1.
Yeah.
But I did take out some of the search in my deck, so I left it. But if you want to experiment with that, you can, because you are seeing Royal Knights, Belphemon. There's a lot of stuff without sources. A lot of those gizmons and stuff.
Whatever they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of those. So, and now that that's winning regionals, you're going to start seeing it more and more often. So, Sora and Joe is an old card, but it is becoming more and more useful as the days go on. Being able to strip the turn after, you can strip the rage mode from under the sleep or something like that. So being able to have a little source control and get that extra memory is really good. And then we're still running one of the Matt and Sora, the dual color, dual tamer. Really good. Bounces level 3. Strong. Gains your memory. If you have 8 or more, your opponent has 8 or more. There's a lot of decks in this format that draw a lot.
Yeah.
So you're pretty much always going to net that one later game against, at least if you don't, you're going to net it from your opponent. Okay. Now this is where the deck changed a lot, right?
Okay.
Played with the blue boost for a very long time.
I remember that, yes.
And I know if you're a fan of the channel, fan of Basil and a lot of the conversations we've been talking about as far as these memory abusing cards, I went back to them.
I don't blame you. I really don't.
I really did. I bottom decked so many arenas in this deck with those blue memory boosts, and they slow the deck down, I think, when this deck needs to be fast. So we went to 3 Hammer Sparks.
Ooh, brutal.
A lot of this, especially, I experimented early on with the Hammer Sparks, but it was before the Ulforce X came out.
Yep.
Now, having Hammer Sparks with Ulforce X that digivolves for 1, it makes a huge difference in the deck. Also, when your opponent hits that in security, it's way better for them to hit that than to hit a blue boost.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of decks like Alphamon, Shine Gray stuff. They don't account for losing memory when they hit your security.
Yep.
That's not what they're planning. Like, they'll plan out their whole OTK turn, and you can really disrupt them with that. Sometimes all you need is just that one more turn, especially if you're gaining a ton of memory by unsuspending unexpectedly.
Yeah.
Point worth noting, a lot of times people will swing your security before they're going to swing one of your level 4s that are suspended. But when any of these unsuspend, even at the beginning of your turn, if you have the arena out, you're going to gain that memory. So if you can pass turn unexpectedly before they have a chance to kill one of your bodies, if they don't do things in the right order, you can really punish them with that Hammer Spark. And then I've joined the crowd.
Okay.
We got the Ice Wall.
It's a good move.
It's so strong in this format with the Marcuses, specifically, and the Royal Knights. Being able to swing 1,000,000 times in one turn, it really gives you that little safety net of, hey, give me one more turn before you kill me.
Sometimes Ulforce just needs one more turn.
Yes. One more turn, one more piece. So, I mean, we got mulligans now, too. I think I tested Hammer Spark before mulligans.
Gotcha.
I think you'll be just fine.
Time to bring it back.
With a mulligan, you'll be able to get the pieces you need. If not, this deck is never terrible just hard playing a Tamer.
Yeah.
Because you need 3 Tamers on board just to get that level 6 sent back when you do get into your Ulforce. So being able to play a Davis early, or even Arena, even if you don't play the Arena with the Ulforce Digivolve, it's not a terrible thing just to have it out and have it ready. Unless you're playing against Black or Gray.
Yeah,
just Hades Force everything. But yeah. But that's the deck. That is the BT-13 update for Ulforce for me. So, yeah. Let us know in the comments. If you like it, you hate it, what would you change? I tried to give a few contingencies based on your meta. Like I said, if you do play against a quartzmon, you can go down to 2 Hammer Sparks, take out the Ulforce, put back in, 2 Mercifuls or some kind of kill spell to get rid of it. So that's what I got, guys. Thanks for checking it out.